Study Session 9, International Economic Organization 2, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Introduction. This study session will enable you understand the Economic Community of West African States as a sub-regional international economic organization. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to describe how the community was formed, state its aims and membership, explain the organizational setup of ECOWAS, and mention her achievements and problems. Formation of ECOWAS. The ECOWAS, that is, the Economic Community of West African States, was formed on the 28th of May 1975 with the signing of ECOWAS Treaty in Lagos, Nigeria, after many years of deliberations. However, the community did not become operational until the approval of the Community's Protocol in 1976. Two countries, Nigeria and Togo, were the primary actors behind the formation of ECOWAS. Although it is an experiment in economic integration, its activities have some political implications. Membership of ECOWAS. As the name suggests, ECOWAS is an economic organization in the West African sub-region. As at date, it is composed of 16 English and French-speaking West African states. The English-speaking members are Liberia, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and Ghana. The French-speaking members are the Republic of Benin, Guinea, Mali, Mauritania, Niger, Senegal, Togo, Upper Volta, now Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, and Cape Verde. Aims and principles of ECOWAS. The aims and objectives of ECOWAS are contained in the Community's Treaty. Its Article 2 gives this as A. The promotion of cooperation and development in all fields of activity, particularly in the fields of industry, transport, telecommunication, energy, commerce, agriculture, natural resources, and financial matters. B. The promotion of cooperation in social and cultural matters for the purposes of raising the standard of living of its people, increasing and maintaining economic stability, fostering closer relations among its members, and contributing to the progress and development of the African continent. In order to achieve these objectives, the ECOWAS Treaty adopts these sets of principles. A. Elimination of customs duties and other charges of equal effect on imports and exports between members. B. Elimination of quantitative and administrative obstacles or restrictions on trade among members. C. Elimination of obstacles restricting the free movement of people, services, and capital between members. D. Establishment of fund for cooperation, compensations, and developments. E. Establishment of a common tariff structure and commercial policy towards non-members. F. Harmonization of economic, agricultural, industrial, and monetary policies of members. G. Promotion of common projects in the member states in the field of marketing research, agro-industrial enterprises, etc. And lastly, H. Evaluation of common policy and joint development of transport, communication, energy, and other infrastructural facilities. Institutional arrangements under ECOWAS. Basically, there are two principal organs of ECOWAS, namely the Authority and the Council of Ministers. There are, however, others like the Tribunal and the various technical and specialized agencies. There is also an ECOWAS Secretariat. A discussion of each of these is necessary at this point in order to know what each organ does. The Authority. The Authority is the principal governing organ of ECOWAS. It consists of heads of state and government of member states. The Authority is responsible for decision in respect to the general direction of the community. Its decisions are binding on all organs and institutions of the community. It also controls the performance of the executive functions of the community. It meets once a year and is headed by a chairman elected from among its members. The Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers consists of 2 representatives from each member state. Each state has 1 vote. This council, which meets twice in a year, is responsible for A. Keeping under review the functioning and development of the community. B. Making recommendations to the authority on the efficient functioning of the community. And C. Giving directions to all subordinate units. The Secretariat. The Secretariat, which is located in Lagos, is headed by an executive secretary and assisted by a body of staff drawn from member states. The Secretariat sees to the day-to-day activities of the community. Technical and Specialized Commissions. Technical and specialized commissions were also set up to advise the community on specific matters needing expert knowledge. The commission, in which each member state has 1 representative, reports and make recommendations to the Council of Ministers through the Executive Secretary. Specifically, 4 specialized institutions were set up by the community. These are A. The Trade, Customs, Immigration, Monetary and Payments Commission. B. The Industrial, Agricultural and Natural Resources Commission. C. The Transport, Telecommunication and Energy Commission. D. The Social and Cultural Commission. The last of the institutions, and by no means the least, is the Tribunal, which is charged with the responsibility of ensuring that the operations of the community conforms with the concept of law and justice, and that the interpretation of the ECOWAS Treaty conforms the provisions in the treaty. In-text questions. 1. The major actors behind the formation of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, are A. South Africa and Ethiopia. B. West Africa and Togo. C. Ghana and the Gambia. D. Togo and Nigeria. 2. The Economic Community of West African States also have political objectives. A. True. B. False. Feedback on the in-text questions. 1. The correct answer is D. If you chose option A, B, or C, then you are incorrect because Nigeria and Togo were the major actors behind the establishment of the Economic Community of West African States. 2. The correct answer is A. If you chose option B, then you are incorrect, because part of the objectives of ECOWAS is to ensure the political stability of the sub-region. Achievements of the ECOWAS. Some of the achievements of ECOWAS are: A. It has promoted greater interstate economic activities. Example, trade, as more markets are created for member states. B. It has given rise to the free movement of persons without immigration problems as in the past. C. It eases resources mobility. For example, labor is able to move to where it is needed. And D. It has brought about closer cooperation and relations among citizens in member states and between and among member states themselves. However, the benefits that should result from the formation of ECOWAS have not actually come to reality in any meaningful way. Most of the potentials of ECOWAS are yet to be utilized, as some vital parts of the treaty are yet to come into effect. Even those that have come into effect, like the free movement of goods and services, for reasons that are internal to member states, are not faithfully complied with. This leads us to a discussion of the problems facing ECOWAS. Problems and prospects of ECOWAS. The effectiveness of ECOWAS is hindered by many socio-economic, political and historical problems. Some of these are: 1. The different colonial background of member states, that is, French and English, erodes the commitment of members to the community. In fact, the interests of members are still very much linked to their relations with their colonial masters. This creates the problem of dependency on extra-community market. 2. Differences in language, culture, and social settings make the expected level of interaction difficult. 3. Differences in level of economic development and economic activities in member states. This does not augur well for the expected exchange under ECOWAS. 4. The problem of compensations, since there is different level of movement of goods and services among members, and given the fact that some countries depend on import duties, there is bound to be losses. How can this be compensated? Lack of possible compensation has prevented countries from making for the free transaction expected under ECOWAS. 5. Fear of political domination. Some member states are suspicious of members like Nigeria, given population, size, resources, etc. 6. Political instability, which does not guarantee sustained commitment to the community. 7. Poor infrastructural facilities. Examples: roads, telecommunications, linking member states. This does not promote efficient movement of goods and services. 8. Currency barrier. Lack of a uniform currency in the community slows down transactions. 9. The idea of free movement among member states had given rise to internal problems in some countries. Example, in Nigeria, the influx from ECOWAS states, particularly Ghana, has been identified as one of the causes of unemployment and insecurity, that is, theft and armed robberies in the country. The consequence of this, as in Nigeria, was the expulsion of Ghanaians, or the so-called illegal aliens, in 1983, contrary to the spirit of ECOWAS. 10. Problems of what to actually exchange as all members are not engaging in any meaningful manufacturing. This trend is not likely to change in the nearest future, given the poor state of the economies in these states. And 11. Delay in the ratification of some protocols by members. The reasons for this might not be unconnected with some internal problems that might come with such. Despite all the problems enumerated above, and that of the newness of the community, one can still agree that ECOWAS has a lot of potentials. The realization of these is, however, dependent on the extent to which the community can honestly solve the various problems, especially operational ones. So, for ECOWAS to be more effective, there are certain categorical imperatives, namely 1. Commitment of members to increase their levels of transactions within the sub-region by redirecting their pattern of trade relations, which is now outward looking. So, there is the need to dismantle the colonially oriented trade patterns. 2. The development of manufacturing industries by embarking on massive industrialization. This is to increase the number and volume of goods for exchange. This would put an end to the present trend where some countries have little or nothing to offer as they produce raw materials that are not in demand in the sub-region. In fact, the goods that some countries exchange did not originate within their borders. Example, French member states. So there is need to diversify the economy. 3. Need for political will and mutual trust among members. 4. Improvement of transaction facilities. 5. Encouragement of ratification of ECOWAS protocol. 6. Reactivation and proper functioning of ECOWAS national committees. These could be very useful in propagating and disseminating the ideals of ECOWAS and its activities, apart from helping in educating the citizens their rights, duties, and obligations under ECOWAS. 7. Breakdown of currency barriers, or find a common medium of exchange. And 8. Although ECOWAS is an economic organization, members should strive to evolve a greater political unity between the French and English-speaking West African countries, as this is capable of reinforcing the attainment of their economic objectives. As we have noted, although ECOWAS has not achieved much, partly because of its age, it nevertheless has a lot of potentials. If well harnessed, it is capable of being a bedrock for cementing political unity in the sub-region and a basis for the sub-region's military alliance. The much talked about ECOWAS Defense Alliance Pact may be a reality after all. On the whole, if one takes cognizance the homogeneity that characterized the defunct African Economic Community and its eventual failure, the ECOWAS experiment and its achievements so far, and the likelihood of its sustenance and possible improvement is commendable. Treaty. In international law, a treaty is an agreement entered into by two or more sovereign states. Study session summary. In this study session, you learnt that ECOWAS is an experiment in economic integration in West African sub-region of Africa. It was formed at the instance of Togo and Nigeria and has 16 members made up of French and English-speaking West African countries. The basic aim of ECOWAS is the promotion of economic cooperation and development of the member states through the elimination of various trade and economic barriers among member states. You also learned that the organs of the community are the authority, the Council of Ministers, and the Tribunal. It has other institutions like the Secretariat and many technical and specialized commissions. Some of the achievements of ECOWAS are in the area of enhancing trade among members. It has also brought about closer cooperation among members. ECOWAS is confronted with many structural and operational problems. These include problems resulting from differences in colonial background, language, and culture of members, fear of political domination, currency barriers, and internal economic problems in member states, among others. There is need to make ECOWAS more effective. This calls for members to dismantle the existing colonial-oriented trade patterns, industrialization in order to enhance production capacity, and the breakdown of currency barriers by members. There is also the need for improved infrastructural facilities. Despite the problems facing ECOWAS, it has a lot of potentials to succeed as a sub-regional economic integration system. End of study session 9. Thanks for listening.